Hello there, thanks for joining me this Tuesday. I'm Haylena Krishnamoorthy and these are the headlines. RTS Link deferred by 6 months. Datuk Sri Zahid and Datuk Sri Hishamuddin expected to be summoned by MACC.
Akan bersama-sama menyanyikan.
And Indonesia's Joko Widodo secures second term as president. We begin the bulletin this evening in Singapore, where the Johor Bahru Singapore Rapid Transit System RTS Link project has been formally deferred by 6 months to September 30th. This was announced by the Malaysian and Singaporean Transport Minister in a joint agreement signing ceremony and media conference today. Both countries today officially signed the supplemental agreement SA for suspension of the project. Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook and his Singapore counterpart Khaw Boon Wan sealed the agreement to formalise the suspension at Singapore's Transport Ministry. Malaysia would also reimburse Singapore about 2 million ringgit by July 31st as abortive costs incurred as a result of the 6-month suspension. According to Loke, under the original agreement, the one-way fare was set at 15 ringgit and would burden some Malaysians who travel to Singapore daily for work.
Very much on our part, we really hope that this project can proceed. But in other forms and other approaches that we have to take into consideration, of course, key to that is the cost of the project. And that is a major consideration that on the Malaysian part. And on the Malaysian part, of course, we are looking at how the private sector can play a role in this project as well.
We hope that the RTS Link project will resume at the end of the suspension period, either in its current form as prescribed in a bilateral agreement, or incorporating any project scope changes that both sides agree on during the suspension period. If not, the RTS Link project will be deemed to have been terminated by Malaysia, and Malaysia will reimburse Singapore for the costs we have incurred.
The bilateral agreement on the RTS Link was signed in January last year. The project was initially scheduled for construction this year and is expected to be completed by December 2024. France has dropped some of the charges against an associate of former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak over alleged kickbacks paid on a major submarine deal. Judicial sources said Monday the Paris Appeal Court had dropped the charges of passive corruption against Abdul Razak Baginda while retaining the remainder of the charge sheet. Abdul Razak was the advisor to Datuk Sri Najib when the latter was Defence Minister between 2000 and 2008. According to a report by AFP, Abdul Razak advised Datuk Sri Najib on a deal worth some $1.18 billion to buy 2 Scorpion-class submarines and 1 Agosta-class submarine from French Naval Dockyards Unit, DCN, linked to French Defence Group Thales. An investigation into the deal launched in 2010 revealed that Terasasi, a firm whose main shareholder was Abdul Razak, received an equivalent sum for what was billed as consultancy work. The report added that investigators believe the payment was really a front for kickbacks. Abdul Razak was charged in France in July 2017 with active and passive complicity in corruption and misappropriation of corporate assets. The French investigators are also looking into allegations that 114 million euros was paid to a purported Malaysia-based shell company, Peri Mekar, as part of the deal. That company was controlled at the time by Abdul Razak's wife. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Agency, MACC, is expected to summon former Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and former Defence Minister Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hussein. This was to have their statements recorded to facilitate investigation into the land swap deals involving the Defence Ministry. MACC Deputy Chief Commissioner of Operations, Datuk Sri Azam Baki said the probe was launched several months ago and the graft buster is in the midst of reviewing the audit report to trace any elements of crime which had taken place in the ministry.
Dan kita sedang menjalankan siasatan berhubungan 2 kes yang dilaporkan kepada kita, dan apabila diumumkan lagi laporan audit dan SPRM melihat kepada seluruh audit report yang dikemukakan kepada kita, dan juga pihak Datuk Seri Hishamuddin juga telah mengemukakan satu laporan lain kepada kita. So pihak MACC melihat kepada semua perkara yang dikemukakan kepada kita untuk diteliti dan juga disiasat.
Datuk Sri Azam, who spoke to the media in Kuala Lumpur this morning, said that the MACC is looking at the audit report on 16 land swaps, including the Defence Ministry, which were allegedly lopsided and cost the government 500 million ringgit. Datuk Sri Hishamuddin was the Defence Minister from 2013 to 2018, while Datuk Sri Zahid served as Defence Minister from 2009 to 2013. Datuk Sri Azam said no arrests have been made yet in the Defence Ministry's land swaps, as the MACC is establishing the elements of corruption and abuse of power in the cases. Meanwhile, based on an MACC investigation, it was believed that the graft value in the armoured vehicle parts supply project amounted to 135 million ringgit. Datuk Sri Azam said the value was estimated after the probe into the 7.5 billion ringgit project was carried out in more detail.
Kes ini dalam peringkat permulaan, peringkat kita masih lagi menjalankan siasatan awal, dan memang ramai saksi yang akan dipanggil. Saya pun tak boleh beri jumlah yang nak dipanggil, tapi aggressively we are now investigating the case.
Yesterday, a 39-year-old company owner holding the title of Datuk Sri was remanded for the same case, and prior to that, 2 individuals, namely a chief executive officer and a female chief financial officer of a private company, were also remanded. They were suspected of receiving bribes related to the project from several companies, amounting to more than 17 million ringgit. Now, the Islamic Economic Development Foundation, YAPEM, has suspended its Director General, Dato' Abibullah Samsudin, amid investigations into alleged misconduct. Its Board of Trustees Chairman, Dato' Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar, in a statement today said the suspension was to allow a thorough investigation into Dato' Abibullah's alleged misconduct. He said during the suspension period, the investigation committee will ask him to give his statement and assist in the investigation into his alleged misconduct. He added, for the time being, YAPEM Senior Director of Strategic Management Pariha Hassan would assume the duties as its Director General. On May 18, PKR Communication Director Fahmi Fadzil lodged a police report over a viral video of a man believed to be Dato' Abibullah. In the video, the individual was seen influencing YAPEM staff and threatening them not to vote for Pakatan Harapan in the 14th general election. And after picking up drug-making skills from the internet, a man managed to rake in tens of thousands of ringgit in profits over the last 6 months. His lucrative business, however, was put to an end when police raided his unit at the Sri Pinang Flats in Batuwet, Penang, early on Sunday. Acting on a tip-off, police mounted surveillance of the unit belonging to the 29-year-old suspect's father before they stormed into the flat and found a mini drug processing laboratory. Further investigations revealed that the man was staying alone at the flat to master the art of processing yaba pills through the internet.
Dan hasil rampasannya 50 gram sabu, 45 biji pil ekstasi, 49 gram serbuk disyaki dadah juga, 51 biji pil yaba, 3 biji pil RMA5 dan 5 gram ganja. Jadi nilai keseluruhan rampasan dadah secara kasarnya ialah RM15,000.
Authorities added the man was able to produce 200 pills daily meant for the local market, which he sells for 15 ringgit each. The suspect, who tested positive for drugs and had a previous criminal record, has been remanded for a week to assist investigations. Police also believe that he may be a member of a drug distribution syndicate, and they are trying to identify the syndicate network. A Toyota Vios worth about 27,000 ringgit was also seized during the raid. The case is now being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act for trafficking, which carries a mandatory death sentence upon conviction. In Selangor, police seized about 121 kilograms of cannabis valued at 243,000 ringgit in a raid in Bandar Sunway yesterday. Two locals, aged 28 and 33, were detained at a Sunway permit building parking lot and are now in remand to assist in investigations. Police said they have taken down a syndicate with the arrests and that more arrests of syndicate members will follow.
Kita telah menahan dua orang lelaki Melayu dan telah merampas dadah sebanyak 119 ketol mampat dadah disakti dadah jenis ganja dan dijumpai di tempat duduk penumpang bahagian belakang dan di bahagian but belakang kenderaan.
An initial probe revealed that the drugs seized were meant for local consumption. Police also confiscated a Toyota Vios, a Yamaha LC135 motorcycle and 1,150 ringgit cash. The case is being probed under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Still ahead, 30 traders robbed of their livelihood. Stay tuned for the details. Thanks for staying with us. A 13-year-old boy yesterday became the latest casualty of firecrackers during this year's fasting month. The boy lost all 5 fingers on his right hand while playing with firecrackers at his Kampung Kubang Ikan home in Besut. Shafiq Haikal Shaharuddin was playing with firecrackers with 5 others when it exploded in his hand. The incident destroyed all his fingers and seriously injured his right wrist. His mother was in the kitchen when she heard the explosion, followed by her son's screams from outside their home.
Adik dia cucung dia pegang tak lepas. Benda tu tak ada nak lepas. Okey, dia ingat benda tu tak nyala lagi kan. Bapak kan manyum. Dia apa tu? Dia letak sumbu dia nyala dah dia padai. Dia pun cucuk kali kedua tak ada nak lepas dah. Bapak tu beg.
The boy's 10-year-old brother, meanwhile, sustained slight injuries on his back. Shafiq is currently being treated at the Sultanah Noor Zahira Hospital in Kuala Terengganu. Fate dealt a cruel blow to 30 traders at the Jalan Masjid India Ramadan Bazaar in Kuala Lumpur when a fire broke out and destroyed their stalls early this morning. They are now forced to ponder their future after losing their only source of income, especially with the Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebration less than 2 weeks away. The blaze occurred at about 1:30 a.m., less than 2 hours after the traders closed their stalls for the day. 5 fire engines with 35 firemen from Titiwangsa, Hang Tuah and Pudu stations were deployed to the scene to fight the blaze.
Tadi dalam pukul 1.30 kita orang sebenarnya memang tidur kedai. Lepas tu kita nampak asap ingatkan vape. Orang isap vape. Lepas tu bila kita orang pergi, kita orang selak benda tu nampak macam api kecil tau. Lepas tu dalam tak sampai 1 minit tu kita orang pecah pintu pagar tu. Lepas tu api dah merebak ke atas lah. Bila merebak, lepas tu dia naik atas tau, baru dia pergi kedai-kedai sebelah. Kita orang call bomba, dalam 10 minit macam tu bomba sampai.
Masa api kecil tu kita nak padam. Jadi merebak. Oleh kerana itu, kita panik nak mencari air. Memang di sini susah dapat air.
The flames were extinguished only about 40 minutes later due to difficulties for rescuers to reach the scene due to vehicle parked haphazardly by the roadside. Fortunately, there were no casualties. The cause of the fire and losses incurred are still being investigated. A man died after his car skidded and collided with a lorry carrying oil palm fruits in Kuala Lumpur's Pahang today. District Police Chief Superintendent Azli Muhammad Noor said the crash occurred at Jalan Jerantot Benta near Kampung Jerangsang at about 2:15 p.m. Initial investigations revealed the Perodua Viva, driven by the 56-year-old Muhammad Yusuf Mana, had veered onto the opposite lane and rammed head-on into the lorry. A team of firemen was dispatched to the scene to extricate the victim, who was pinned in his car. However, the victim died at the scene from severe injuries. The body was then brought to the Kuala Lipis hospital for post-mortem. The lorry driver managed to walk away unhurt. Now, let's hop on to our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Last year, the story of two men caught on tape mercilessly killing a cat by putting it in a dryer shocked the nation and made headlines. Now, a video has surfaced showing a locked-up monkey being shot in cold blood, all because it didn't speak the words the man had demanded. Here's the full story.
The 21-second video, which has gained over 200,000 views on Twitter, shows the man forcing the monkey to say "baby sayang," a catchword that went viral after it was made famous by local celebrity Mira Filza. The man continued to push and threaten the monkey, who looked scared and helpless. Then, this happened.
1, 2, 3.
The animal laid still after it was gunned down with what seems to be a Glock sidearm. Netizens were quick to respond with fury, questioning the man's intention and cruel heart. Another netizen wrote that not only the monkey, even human beings won't call the merciless man baby sayang. Others linked the act of killing the monkey to that of how different serial killers start expressing homicidal tendencies. Many are hoping that the man gets the necessary punishment for such gruesome acts of killing an innocent animal.
Now it's 2019 and sadly Islamophobia still exists. Recently in the US, a Taco Bell employee was fired after spewing racist comments at a Muslim customer while he was getting takeout at the fast food's drive-thru for sahur. Tariq, who managed to record the incident on camera, shared the experience on his Twitter page, where the clips accumulated over 500,000 views. It's around 1 a.m. After a busy day at work and not being able to eat from a long day of fasting for Ramadan, Tariq decides to get takeout from the fast food joint to buy some food for sahur. However, it became one Taco Bell trip he never expected would turn into a 25-minute religion debate with their staff.
I tell you, like, it's not what you think and what you see in the news. Those people, we don't follow those people. Those people are monsters. Those people are disgusting. Those are the people that make the religion look bad.
I'm gonna tell you right now, until you call me and change my mind, Muslim can suck my.
Despite what Tariq said, the female staff was persistent with her beliefs, where she continued to say, quote, "You need to cater to me. I'm not going to cater to you because this is on my territory," end quote. Tariq casually responded that he is an American, just like the staff. According to New York Daily News, Council on American Islamic Relations Executive Director in Missouri, Faizan Syed, called out the fast food franchise to step up and address the issue. After the issue went viral, Taco Bell immediately released a statement saying that the employee involved in the racist argument has already been fired. When we return, US grants 90-day extension on Huawei ban. Don't go away. We're back with foreign news. US officials have granted a 90-day extension on the Huawei ban in order to avoid huge disruption. The delay, however, does not change the ban imposed by President Donald Trump on national security grounds. But instead, it grants a temporary license that will allow Huawei to continue doing business with American firms. Following the reprieve, Google said it plans to work with Huawei over the next 90 days to keep existing networks online and protect users from security risks. Meanwhile, Huawei founder Ren Zhengfei on Tuesday shrugged off U.S. attempts to block his company's global ambitions, saying the U.S. underestimates the telecom giant's strength. Last week, Trump declared a national emergency, empowering him to blacklist companies seen as unacceptable risks to the national security of the U.S., a move analysts said was clearly aimed at Huawei. At the same time, the U.S. Commerce Department announced an effective ban on American companies selling or transferring U.S. technology to Huawei. Now, thousands of soldiers fanned out across Jakarta on Tuesday after the surprise early announcement of official results in Indonesia's election showed Joko Widodo, or Jokowi, re-elected as the country's president. Indonesia's General Elections Commission said Jokowi won 55.5% of the vote, while his longtime rival Prabowo Subianto took 44.5%. The re-elected incumbent delivered his victory speech on Tuesday, promising to improve social justice through national development programs over the next 5-year term of his presidency. Jokowi, accompanied by running mate Maruf Amin, delivered the speech before dozens of people in central Jakarta hours after KPU named the pair as the winner. The KPU's final tally showed that Jokowi Maruf had won some 85 million votes, while rival Prabowo Sandiaga had won 68 million votes. The presidential inauguration is expected to be held in October. Meanwhile, presidential challenger Prabowo plans to challenge the election results by filing a lawsuit with the Constitutional Court. The former military man in 2014 unsuccessfully challenged Jokowi's victory over him at the same court. The Election Commission had been due to give the final tally of the divisive poll on Wednesday, but the results were revealed early Tuesday with little advance notice amid fears of unrest. Tensions have also spiked high since police said last week that they arrested dozens of Daesh-linked terror suspects, including some who planned to cause chaos by detonating bombs at any post-election protests. Authorities have seized about 2,086 kilograms of cocaine worth $12 million in various police raids in southwestern Guatemala. The drugs arrived at the Air Force Base in the country's capital by sea and were then transported to Mexico, with the U.S. as its final destination. Footage showed the cocaine was wrapped in over 800 packages upon its arrival. According to authorities, 5 boats were also confiscated during the operations, but no arrests were made. On to sports, 3-time Formula One world champion Niki Lauda has died at the age of 70. His family announced that Lauda, who underwent a lung transplant in August, passed away peacefully on Monday. The legendary Austrian, one of the best-known figures in motor racing, took the title for Ferrari in 1975 and 1977, as well as McLaren in 1984. For many, Lauda will be remembered for his remarkable recovery as he returned to racing after being badly burned in a crash in the 1976 German Grand Prix. After his career as a racing driver, he became an airline entrepreneur and most recently a non-executive chairman for the Formula One Mercedes team, instrumental in bringing in British driver Lewis Hamilton, who has won 5 world championships. Lauda leaves behind his wife, their twins born in 2009, and 3 sons from previous relationships.
I was brought up in a very good...
After visiting more than a dozen countries in the world, the exhibition 144 Buddy Bears promoting tolerance and peaceful coexistence among people, cultures, as well as religions arrives in Guatemala City. take a look as 7Edition draws to a close. I'm Haylena Krishnamoorthy. Thanks for tuning in and have a great evening.